Hello, and thanks for tuning in to Section 4, Navigating Between View Controllers. This section is about adding new view controllers to our project. So we will learn how we can add new storyboard files, how we can build a navigation inside our app and use the UI navigation controller class. Then we will see how we can perform segues, which are essential for the flow of our app's interface and the transition between view controllers. And we will also learn how we can pass data between view controllers. In the first step, we have to add some more view controllers to our project. In this video, we will learn how we can add new view controllers to our project and how we can create new storyboards. Let's have a look at a quick mockup. So we want to add a burger detail view controller, which displays a banner of the image of the burger, and below the banner we want to list the ingredients. And we also want to be able to add a new burger to our recipes list. Therefore, we have to create a view controller that allows us to add a name and add the ingredients. Alright, we will start with adding a new view controller which allows us to add a recipe. For that, we first have to create a new storyboard. You can do a right-click on the folder burger recipe and select new file. Make sure that you are selecting storyboard in the category user interface. Click next and we give it a name called add recipe. Let's hit create. And now we get an empty storyboard. We can place a new view controller inside our newly created storyboard. Click on the library and search for view controller. Just drag it into the empty storyboard and release it. Next, we want to add a text field that allows us to enter the name and a text view that allows us to enter the ingredients. So click again on the library and search for text field. Drag it in there. Do the same for the text view and also drag it in there. So let's do some layouting. We can put it on the left side according to the helping guides we get. And we give the text view the same width as the text field. Perfect. Now we can add a placeholder text to the text field. We can call it enter a name for your recipe. And the text view is somehow different. It's not as easy as for the text field to add a placeholder, but we will make a little work around that so we also achieve the same behavior. First, we have to change the color of the text. Let's change it to tertiary label color. And we also add a text here. We call it add all needed ingredients. And we can also give it a slight background color to distinguish between the text field. We will choose tertiary system fill color. And we're done. What we also want to have is we want to have a navigation bar that allows us to cancel the view and to save the recipe. We can achieve that by embedding our view controller into a navigation controller. You can do that by clicking on Editor and then embed in Navigation Controller. Now we automatically get a navigation bar. What we now have to do is we have to mark an entry point into our storyboard. So whenever we launch the storyboard, we want to say that the navigation controller is our initial view controller and we want to have it as a start view controller. So hit the check mark is initial view controller and you see that a little arrow appears. Now we have to move the text field and the text view below the navigation bar. We can just do that by increasing the Y value. Make sure that both views are now readable, and we will learn in the later section how we can use auto layout to lay out our views correctly and for all different device sizes. So next we want to add the buttons for cancel and save. Click again on the library and search for UI bar button item. Let's drag it in on the left side. And if you click the Alt key and drag the item to the right side, we actually are doing a copy. So the left-hand icon should be the cancel. We can change the system item to cancel, and we can also do that for saving. iOS decides how the button should look like, and it also automatically translates it to other languages. Now let's give it a nice title called New Recipe, which appears in the middle of the navigation item. And we also want to create IB actions and IB outlets for our text field, text view, and buttons. In order to do that, we will have to create an according class to our new recipe scene. So click again on the burger recipe with a right click, select new file, and now we want to create the view controller class. Let's call it add recipe view controller and make sure that it is a subclass of UI view controller. Click next and create. And now we have to assign the newly created class add recipe view controller to our scene inside the storyboard. To be able to do that, select the scene and then click on the identity inspector and assign the class add recipe view controller to it. Now our scene is linked to our add recipe view controller.swift file. And now we're able to create the IB actions and outlets. Bring up the editor and then select the add recipe view controller. So we are able to create the according outlets and actions. Bring up the scene by just clicking here. And now we can create the outlets. Click Control and do a drag and drop to the add recipe view controller. We're calling the text field name text field. Then we will create the ingredients text view. So whenever this error occurs, this is quite random from Xcode, and what sometimes helps is cleaning the project. We can try it by clicking on the product and then say clean build folder. Now the clean is finished. We can give it another try. Let's call it again ingredients text view. And now it's working. So sometimes this error occurs, but don't worry, clean the project. Or what also sometimes helps is just running the project. We can remove the comments here to make some space for our actions we're going to create now. Let's create an action for the cancel button. Make sure that the connection is of type action. We call it did tab cancel. And we do the same for the save button. Again, an action, and we call it did tab save. Now our first view controller is ready to work with some data. The next view controller we are going to create is a view controller that displays the details of a recipe. So let's create another storyboard for that. Again, click New File, select Storyboard. We call it Recipe Detail Storyboard. And now we are playing the same game again. We will add a view controller first. And we want to have a banner image on the top. So we will add an image view to our view controller. Right here on the top. Make it the full width and give it a height of 160. Below the banner image, we want to add a label. This should be the name of the burger. We will change the style of the label so that it becomes a title label. You can do that by clicking on the attributes inspector, clicking on the font, the little T here, click on font system and select title 1. So you can see that the height of the label increases. Below the label, we want to see the ingredients. So we will add a UI text view for that. Let's drag it in there. Give it the same width as the label. And we want to change the look and feel of the text view a little bit. So first of all, we are changing it to be an attributed text view. This will give us some more options. The first one, we want to change is the line height. So click on the more icon here, and we will increase the line height to 1.5. This makes it look a little bit nicer when we're going to display the ingredients later on. So let's give the text view a bigger height, right to the bottom, and we're done. We also have to make sure that this is the initial view controller of the storyboard, as this is the only one. And you might wonder why we are creating a separate storyboard for every view controller, but I recommend to create multiple storyboards, as this makes it easier if you're using version control such as Git, as this avoids a lot of merge conflicts if you have separate storyboards for separate purposes. So, last but not least, we have to add a recipe detail view controller as well, so we can create the necessary IB outlets. Let's click New File and add a Cocoa touch class. Let's call it Recipe Detail View Controller. Again, make sure it's a subclass of UI View Controller and then click Next. Create. Here we have the Recipe Detail View Controller. Now go back to the Recipe Detail Storyboard, as we have to assign the view controller to our scene. Make sure that the view controller is selected. Click on the Identity Inspector, and inside the class text field, we will select Recipe Detail View Controller. Now we are able to create our outlets. Again, bring the editor view up and select Recipe Detail View Controller on the top. Let's bring up the scene again. Now we want to add an IB outlet for the banner view. Let's call it Banner Image View. We want to create an outlet for our name label. Here we have the weird error again. So let's try a clean of the project. Click on Product and then Clean Build Folder. Wait until it's clean finished and try again. Here we go, it's working again, so sometimes Xcode behaves a little bit weird. Now, let's create the IB outlet for the ingredients text view. And we're done with creating the outlet, so clean up the comments, we don't need that right now. This one as well.